do that yet.
Oh,
I'm terrible.
Tracy shaved for this.
He did. I know he did.
Thank you for joining us, folks. Appreciate it. Here we are again, May 2024. And we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about current events. And I want to take a peek ahead to Field Day. I mean, it's May. Field Day is coming on fast. And it is absolutely my favorite ham radio event on the calendar. So
we just did Field Day. We did Field Day like 2 months ago, didn't we?
No,
I just talked about making sure our gear was prepped. That's all I was talking about.
No, we just did Field Day. These things just happened.
No, we haven't had a Field Day one since last spring, Tim. Jeez. You know what? You're selling too many antennas. You're so focused on the one thing, you're losing relevance with the other stuff out there. So
nothing like time travel, I guess.
We're your friends. We pull you out of that so that you can get some exposure to the rest of this stuff.
Hey, I put on a clean shirt today. Okay.
Hey, look at that. That's impressive. No dog hairs.
Took a shower.
Today, man. I haven't shaved. I'm in like whatever I'm wearing. I'm a slob.
All right. Hey, listen. Let's say hi to some folks who have joined us. Hey, Shane, Scout 75. Thanks for joining us. Always nice to have you on board. Really appreciate that.
Well,
Andrew,
I'm going to jump in here. I know you want to say hello, Andrew, but so for Scout, I've noticed on his channel he's been getting involved with the Long Island CW group, and of course I'm from Long Island, so that's like when I saw that I said, oh, we have a connection.
Have you? Speaking of Long Island CW Club, have you had any involvement with them, Chris?
No. I was going to ask if it's part of the Limemark Radio Club, which is a very large radio club on Long Island. So that's what I was going to ask if it's part of that. I think it is, but I'm not sure.
So there's Long Island CW Club reached out to me a few years ago, and I did a presentation to them for them at that point. Very good fellow, nice guy over there. Oh my gosh. And I've talked to him a couple times on my videos. And you think I can remember his name now? It's not on you, it's on me. A long day at work. Oh, if I think of it, I'll remember it. Oh, he's a good guy. So Andrew, N1 YLO. Hey Andrew, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. We've got JCW VE6 JXN. Hey, thanks for joining us. It's always great to have somebody from Alberta chime in. And Ryan VE3TWM. Hey Ryan, thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it. And guys, we've got this chat feature. Don't feel like the only reason you have to use it is just to say hi when you first log in. Contribute as we go through. We're going to be talking about a number of different things and love to hear your thoughts on it.
It's Tracy's favorite part. Tracy loves to engage with the chat. So
yes, he does.
Chat him up.
I do.
Lots of Canadians in the chat too, by the way, eh?
Oh, we love them. We love them Canadian buys. Let me just take a look here. I want to
go make a back bacon sandwich.
With a Molson, right? Chris, Kilo 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo, the proprietor of Kilo 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo Radio on YouTube. How would you like to tell us a little bit about what's been happening in your world?
Well, ham radio wise, a little bit, I guess. I was on, well, you see my last couple of videos, my plane spotting, which has been a lot of fun, and GMRS, which I've got my feet into now, which is, it's interesting. I will say that comparing GMRS repeaters, which are 2 in this area, and the activity of the ham radio repeaters, there's more activity on the GMRS repeaters than there is on the ham repeaters. Just saying. Just putting that out there.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Cheaper radios.
Yeah.
Cheaper antennas.
By the way, I did some digging, Chris. Last time you were given the whole spiel about this whole GMRS stuff, and I was unfamiliar with it. Well, I figured out why I'm unfamiliar with it. So here in Canada, the government, the powers that be, have determined that we can only have something like 3 watts maximum transmitters on the GMRS band.
That might be like, so it's divided here. It's GMRS has divisions, and the first, I think it's 8 channels, I think it is, are the handheld, like the blister pack radios, limited to like, I want to say to like even maybe 1 watt or 2 watts here at max. But when you get into the regular GMRS frequencies, the mobiles and the base stations go to 50 watts, and the handhelds, I think, are at 5. But yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Sorry, I interrupted you, Chris. Could you please?
And HF wise, I know I know everybody knows that we had that big solar storm that hit the planet, and my experience was, just for laughs, I turned the radio on, and every band was completely flatlined. I honestly thought my antenna was disconnected. It was totally flatlined.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, every band.
And here I am. So I'm scanning Twitter, right? And I'm seeing all these posts. Oh, 50 meters. I got sporadic E to New Zealand on 52 or something like that. It's just like, okay, so all right, what the heck? All right, I'll turn it on.
Yeah. I heard that too. I heard people talking about getting like Aurora skip on 60.
Yeah.
And but I turned it. It was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. But it was interesting. Then I got on last week, and I worked Asiatic Russia for the first time. I never worked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I never worked Asiatic Russia. That was a new one. And
I thought you didn't we do a stream where you had your fancy DXCC in a frame back there?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
So you worked like Bonaire or someplace, right?
It took me a long time to get that.
You got the Faroe Islands though. Bonaire.
That's right. But then the other night I was on, and I heard a guy on Ascension Island, which is it's in the Atlantic Ocean off of the coast of Africa.
Yes.
And this guy's pileup, he was working by call zone, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And then he went through all of those, and then he went DX, and he had to when he went DX stations, he still had to break it up by 0, 1, 2, 3 all the way through. Then he went back, to US and Canada, 0 through 9. And then by that third time around, every time he hit 2 for the United States, I kept calling, never got through. And then he pulled the plug. It was like, okay, guys.
Yeah, Ascension Island. For a long time, Ascension Island was my furthest DX, I think, for like the first year I had my license. It's one of 2 places that I actually want to like retire to. Ascension Island or St. Helena. St. Helena.
That's getting away from it all.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm ready.
Hey, Ryan chipped in. 2 watts is the maximum for GMRS in Canada.
Ah, okay.
There you go. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that heads up.
Yeah, the FRS radios here look like these, and you can't remove the antenna. It's just a fixed radio. It works, if you're.
Although, it does make me wonder, Chris. So we know on CB they don't pay any attention to the wattage regulations.
Right.
I wonder if I'll bet you there's a whole bunch of people up here in Canada running around with these Chinese GMRS radios and chatting. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Well, here's the thing. Now I have mine. I got through Radiodity. It comes programmed, so those lower channels, the output of that thing, the power output is low. I can't change it. I'm sure I can hack into the thing somehow, but like out of the box, it's pre-programmed to the channels, the frequencies, repeater pairs, everything's all set up.
Can't be any tougher than the ARRL.
That's interesting. But no, if you look at something like some of these Chinese radios, I'm thinking of the Redivis ones now because I've got a pair of the handhelds, and they're completely programmable, through the wide VHF and UHF spectrum.
Right.
So you don't necessarily have to buy one of those to operate on GMRS.
Well, it's funny you say like the older Baofangs, the original generation of UV5s were wide open, and you can program GMRS, FRS frequencies in that thing, and the full 5 watts. So
I'm pretty sure I got one of those.
To your point, who's going to know, right? If you have an 8-speed, it's a Baofeng at 5 watts or a Motorola 2, no one's going to tell the difference. So.
Yeah. And you know what?
They can hear you on the whole band.
Well, that's during the Baofeng. That band and the band above it.
The band up, the band up, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and I want to put this asterisk in there really quickly. I am not advocating that people operate illegally in their area. Not at all. I'm just saying from a practical perspective, There's no reason they couldn't.
Well, that's
Hey,
funny
Rob.
because I thought that's what you were saying. I thought you were saying it was okay for freedom
No,
loving
I didn't
people
say that.
to have
No,
to do what they want with their electronic devices in a free country.
no.
You're not saying that?
Hey, now, Rob VE3TWM. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining us. I worked at DXpedition in Tanzania,
Nice.
5H4AYL in February with single sideband on 10 meter and CW on 20 watts.
Beautiful.
Operator was Sisa OM4AYL. Always a big pile up. Well, good for breaking the pile up with 20 watts. Good job, Rob. I'd be interested what kind of antenna you were using.
Yeah, it's all about the antenna. Yeah.
You know, that's one of those things that I wish we did more of, is because I always find out about these. I never have time to like go and look at the schedule and stuff like that. But I always hear about the DXpeditions when they're like ends tonight. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that. We should do a DXpedition calendar.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let me see here. 20 meters, not 20 watts. Okay, there you go, Rob. Were you running QRO then?
Yeah, 2,000 watts.
Yeah.
Into a 7 element.
Rob's got a beautiful station. Rob does a lot of live streaming from his station, remote operations. You know, he's the one that had DX Commander working from Newfoundland, Signal Hill.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Nice.
Okay, and Rob says, yeah, he was running 400 watts.
There you go.
There you go. He made it happen.
So congratulations, retracted.
Yeah. Now be nice. Jeez. It's still an accomplishment. So Chris, thank you. Was there anything more from your side before we move along to Tim?
No, well, as far as operating with illegal power, I do have to tell one quick story. When I was a novice, way back in the day, 1976, I had a Heathkit HW16, and it had a little power knob on the front. But back in the day, as a novice, you were allowed 75 watts. But the HW16, when it was running wide open, was 90 watts. And I will confess, the entire time I was a novice, I ran that radio wide open at 90 watts. And I never went to jail.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Hey, I'm going to catch up on some comments here. Keep them coming, folks. AJ Hillbilly, anyone know which ham just started again to offer a connected control box with simple buttons to activate your optional voice CW message, contest, POTA, SOTA, etc.? Can't find him. W5HEH on QRZ. I presume that's W5HEH who's writing that. Does anybody here familiar with that? I
do not.
I don't
know which ham just started again to offer a connected control box with simple buttons to activate.
I know what he's talking about. It's something that goes into a port in the back of the radio, and it's probably a simple box that's got a series of buttons on it for your keyer memories, right? Whether it's a voice keyer or CW keyer.
Right.
Just so bang, you can hit that rather than looking for the button on the rig or activating it. I know exactly what he means. I think I do anyway. All right. Well, if anybody hears this, has one for him, please look him up and send him a note if you don't get to it by the time the stream ends tonight. And we have Mike, N2MAK, so hang on just a sec here.
The handfluencer's here. All right. Watch that view count. It's going to start going up.
Take a look, and where Mike? No, that's not Mike. One sec here. I want to see if I can. Here we go, right here. Here's Mike. Okay, let's. Mike, I watched your video before the stream tonight. Pretty cool to see you had a good time, and
didn't you win a prize or something?
Well, Mike's friend won a 705.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's a pretty sweet.
My friend Tracy has a lot of problems with that radio.
Yeah, I saw a video from some dude up in Canada who was
I don't know.
Who was like bitching about his brand new 705 that he shelled out all that money for and is now like, has buyer's remorse.
Yeah,
crying he's crying in his Molson.
Well, listen, if somebody handed me a Molson, I'd be crying too. So,
Mike, right back and tell us what park you were at, how many contacts you made, that sort of thing. But it was a beautiful day for doing that kind of stuff. Let me just I would like to respond to some of those comments that were just thrown my way. But let's just go down and see what Rob has to say. VE3PCP, modified Hustler, ground mount vertical, covers 10 through 160. Okay. I'm guessing you have a pretty good radial bed on that one.
Probably. Yep.
And here's Shane, Scout 75. Okay, that's okay, Chris. I think the statutes of limitations have expired for that grievous violation of FCC regulations. Absolutely. All right. What do we got? We got Rob back again. Legal limit in Canada is 2250 PEP at the antenna. I didn't know that.
Pump it up.
Completely forgotten that one. I mean, who's going to tell the difference, right? At the receiving end. It's that you got to quadruple your power to gain the extra S unit thing.
Yeah.
Hey, we got James KC8 OPV. Hello, everyone. I missed you all at Dayton. Well, I wasn't in Dayton. I don't think either of the three of us. Although, James, thanks. Number one, thanks for tuning in. Great to have you here. Thanks for saying hello. Guess what? The three of us are thinking about Dayton for next year. I'm trying to talk to my friends.
I'll be
here.
honest. We were talking about this just prior to the show, and yeah, it is a must do kind of thing. But I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Dayton, to be honest. I worry I'm going to get.
Tell us why.
I'm worried I'm going to get tackled on like the floor and be like, I bought one of your antennas 2 years ago. Shit sucks. I'll get exposed as a phony or something if I show up at Dayton. And it's just like, there's that guy.
No, you're going to get tempted. What'll happen to you, being you're a manufacturer, you're going to be tempted to go the following year and set up a booth.
No. Listen, there's two types of people. Did you ever take the Myers-Briggs, the MBTI personality inventory? Yeah. And you know that there's E's and I's, right? Right, extroverts and introverts, and it's based upon whether you get energy by interacting with people or you spend energy interacting with people. I'm the highest I you've ever met. Honestly, I if I meet 5 or 10 people at a time or something like that, I'm exhausted. I can't.
Have you ever seen those soccer games where people get into the big plastic bubble and they're playing soccer? Have you ever seen that?
I've seen something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get you one of those bubbles. So you just got to make sure we keep you as you're walking through Dayton. Nobody can get too close to you. I think. But
would their attention be focused on me? I mean, walking around in a big plastic bubble. It'd be the same thing. I become psychically exhausted at that point. It's just too much. So I bought a dog.
I would like to get back to this Dayton thing, but I want to get and thank you for adding in the comments, folks. It's fantastic to have you participating this way. Okay, let me see here. So Mike N2MAK, Tracy had a great video on the 705. When we find the perfect radio and perfect antenna, we can stop buying them. Here, Mike, and thank you for the compliment. I like doing videos once in a while. You talk, Tim. Okay, here is a perfect example. I'm not afraid to show my face at Dayton as I did last year. And I've done videos which are a little bit edgy, right? They're not necessarily friendly to the manufacturers. I'm not so tightly involved with them that I feel like I owe them that.
Tracy,
there's this one antenna manufacturer in Illinois that maybe crosses that threshold, but everybody else it's open season on. So if I can do it, you can do it, my friend.
What, Dayton?
Dayton. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for posing my question earlier. By the way, been enjoying your channel for years. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
So did I. Yeah. And are we going to talk about your 5 things I hate about you video?
I think we could get there. Let me get down through these. We've got a few other topics that we want to get to, but if you wanted to address that,
we got a full show tonight. This is awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Rob was I was asking Rob about his Hustler vertical, and I'm glad it's not a high gain, which means it hasn't rusted into the earth. There I go again with my MFJ stuff. Yes, approximately 150 meters of radials.
Wow.
Speaking of MFJ, we need to talk about them a little.
We do have to talk about them. Yep.
What's to say?
You didn't hear the news?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, look.
All right. I will be in the minority. Okay. I will take the minority view.
I'm not sure that you'll be the only one in that corner, but anyway.
But the minority view, I'm just going to ask. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Good.
So what?
Hold your thought. We'll get there. I promise. I'm dying to hear what you got to say.
Okay.
Okay, Mike. I was out in the Erie Canalway. Now that's an historic place, National Heritage Corridor. And I'm fairly close to the border here in Southern Ontario, so I know all about the Erie Canal. National Heritage Corridor, US 6532. I tried a CB antenna, but no luck on 10 meters. I switched to a 213-inch whip. That's a long whip, and got 27 on 20 meters and about 30 meters with some DX2. Fantastic. Great job, Mike.
There you go. Yep.
Got James, KC8 OPV. So he's talking to Tim here. Dayton is well worth it. The eyeball QSOs are worth the trip alone.
And there you have it.
So children, there you go. That's what you get for sharing your feelings. Okay.
All right. Okay.
By being forthright.
Tim, it's taken a little while, but what's new in your world? And while you're talking, I'm just going to bring up a shot of the N9 SAB antenna store. So please let us know what's going on over your way.
What's going on? Well, spring is here, obviously. So the garden is in nearly full bloom, and people are buying antennas and having a good time, and I get a lot of questions now and then, and that's always fun. We're working on the Delta Loop. Philip's going to be cutting some wire for me and testing out the prototype Delta Loop, which I hope to get out soon. And the anti-field day antenna too. There's a work band end fed.
I like that.
Wow.
Which, I don't know, Gaston and I were joking around last year about, field day. Yeah, I don't want to go out and work on field day because and he's right. Okay, if you try doing something on ham radio on field day, it's probably the worst day in the world if you're not participating in field day. And so I made this kind of funny offhand comment. I was like, well, why don't you just go to the work bands, dude?
Yeah.
He said, oh yeah, I never thought about that. I was like, yeah, it's like, we ought to make, or he said it, or I said, I don't remember. It's we ought to make an antenna just for working the work bands, right? Yeah. So we came up with an end-fed, resonant end-fed, linked end-fed for 12, 17, and 30, and people have been pretty responsive to it. I, unfortunately, am just the lazy bastard that I am, have not been able to put everything together. There's a few of them out there. People have, somebody sends me an email. Oh yeah, I'd like one of those. They get them. It's just I haven't put it out in the commerce, the stream of commerce yet.
Okay.
Good.
I've been wanting something like that for years, literally. When I was doing reviews for the high end fed, I was asking him about that. But I'm glad to hear you're offering something like this.
Yeah, well, I've always been a work band guy. Okay, for all the reasons that we talked about in the first 30 minutes of the show, right? Mm-hmm. The 30 meters for digital and CW has always been cool. 17 meters is, I showed you my 20 meter ham stick dipole, right? That I tuned for 17, and put that on a rotor. That was always fun. 12 I never did much with, but I grew up in a non-solar maximum hemisphere.
Yeah.
The 12 was never really on the table. It is now. So
it is. Yeah.
If you like 10, you'll love 12.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
That's what's new. Plus a solar storm, and plus
is your volume still up?
It's drifting off a little bit. I've been tapering back the inventory a little bit because I've got to get outside and weed, power wash.
So you mentioned gardening. You're into gardening?
Oh yeah, have been.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, forever, yeah.
Oh wow,
Here.
Okay.
Here, take a look.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see all of that.
Wow,
that's wonderful. It looks like heaven out there.
Close as you can get in the northern suburbs of Chicago, I guess.
That's very nice.
Okay, now this stupid thing doesn't want to work.
All right,
you sold me this thing, Tracy. How's it work?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So yeah, I do things a little differently, of course, but
Everybody's got their own flair, right? There's what I heard once, there's 250 ways to wash the dishes. All right, let me see here. So I want to go back to Rob. Rob's given us a comment here. VE3PCP. Hey, Rob, on the weekend of May 3rd to 5th, we participated in Exercise Trillium. Just so people know, Trillium is the provincial flower of Ontario.
It is
military
also,
training. Sorry?
white trilliums are also a protected flower in the state of Illinois. I have 2 of them.
Oh, is that right? You can't pick them in Ontario.
The white ones, yeah. You can't dig them out here. It's a woodland flower.
Yeah.
Blooms in the spring.
We have some that grow in the ravine out back. A military training exercise with 800 Canadian Forces Reserve troops and amateurs working with them to provide auxiliary communications. What a cool exercise that would have been.
That's fun.
Nice. Rob continues, planned on using 40 meters and 80 meters, but ended up using mostly 2-meter repeaters as the bands were not good at all that weekend for NVIS. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We got Shane, Scout 75. I have now purchased 4 N9 SAB antennas. Highly recommend. My favorite one is always the one I've used last. Now that is an endorsement. Thanks for that, Shane.
Yep. Great stuff. It's great stuff.
Hey, so here's a message for Tim. Spring is here. This is from AJ Hillbilly. Spring is here in Arkansas. My XYL is a special gal who caught 2 EGG banditos, black snakes, threw them in a 5-gallon bucket, and I got the honor of driving them off about 1.5 miles to the lake.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so I do stuff like that here too. See, all right. She's gone, so I can tell this story. So, my wife is lazy. All right, I love her to death, believe me about it, but she's lazy. So, in the summertime, she would just open the doors, right, and just have the doors open so the dogs can go in and out and do whatever they want, and not rather than have to get up and let them out, right?
Right.
So, one year, this was a while ago, we did. She did that during the summer. And then fall came, and then winter came, and I'm sitting in my kitchen, and this mouse runs across the floor. I'm like, what? Right? I was like, oh, this is a problem. And so, and it got, I mean, and another one, and then another one, and I would,
oh no,
I would stand up at the top of the stairs, right, and look down into the kitchen. And I would see all this. So Jesus Christ, I've got mice, right? So I'm freaking out. And I went and I got a bunch of glue traps. She wanted to get the ones that the crackle ones, the snappy things like that. No, we're not doing that, right? So there was an entire winter where I had all these glue traps laid out. I would catch a mouse, right, and then I would have to trot across the ravine to the park and like spread olive oil on the trap so that they could get out, wait for them to struggle free, and then throw them in the. See, look, Chris is shaking his head. I can't.
Well, that's awfully nice of you. You let them, they know the house now, and they know where it's warm.
No, I'm not. No, I can't. Even a mouse. I mean,
I don't care.
Yeah. So it was.
They don't pay rent. Out they go.
So that was about 10 years ago. I haven't seen one since, at least. So.
Well, fantastic. It worked. It worked. Okay.
And we bought these little magnetic screens for the dogs, so they can do.
Oh, so they bump it and it opens.
Everybody's happy. The mice are outside. I'm not freaking out. The dogs go in and out where they want. My wife doesn't have to get up. So.
The mice might not be happy.
Well, they're outside. They're alive.
Not if they came
okay. Let's please send us comments in the chat, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So I want to address something first off the gate. So for the longest time, we did this live stream on Thursday nights, and the 3 of us were sitting around at the beginning of this year, maybe late last year, and we decided, why don't we try Monday nights? Maybe that'll be a better spot for us. Well, it turned out that after several months of doing that, it really wasn't. So we've moved back to Thursday nights, and I think so. What we're going to try to do every month, and believe me, going around everybody's schedule, and Tim is almost an exception because I don't think you have any schedule at all. But between Chris and I,
so my customers get pissed at me, then
I was going to say Tim has no life. That's the problem is.
but barring barring any sort of unusual circumstance, we are going to be shooting for the 3rd Thursday. We're on the 4th Thursday, I think it is, this month.
Yeah, this month.
Because I went camping last week. And so I didn't want to have to do the live stream and then get up dark and early the following morning. So just a note, programming note, we're going to be on Thursday night, that being Eastern North America, going forward. And that's that. Chris, you had brought to my attention that there was an issue at the ARRL.
Right.
Do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about what happened with them?
Sure. Actually, I found out about it, of course, the hard way. I was trying to. I'm a Logbook of the World user. I don't now the thing with. Let me just preface it with this: Logbook of the World it's kind of a dated system, in that like you can't really do live logging with it. You can, but it's very, very clunky to do it live. So typically, what I do is I have my log. I use Hamradar Deluxe for my logs, and I log Hamradar Deluxe, and then I can just simply right click, upload to Logbook of the World, and upload it to QRZ, and I'm done. So I was operating, I guess, a week and a half or so ago, and I went to open up Logbook of the World just to see, to kind of see there was a country that Asiatic Russia country. I wanted to see if I actually had it or not. And I kept getting this message back that the connection failed. So I was like, well, there's a problem with the computer. So of course it's a Windows machine. So I just reboot the computer, right? Same thing. It would not get into it. So I did a little bit of digging around, and sure enough, about a week and a half ago or so, the ARRL experienced a serious, they call it a service disruption. Basically, Logbook of the World is completely shut down. It's like it doesn't exist. Of course, now, if you look, what Tracy's showing is on the ARRL website. It's not even on their homepage. They did have a thin little banner on the homepage at the top for a little while. That's gone now, and you have to look at like latest news to find it. And if you read the 3 paragraphs, the 3 entries they put in, they really don't tell you a whole lot. They just tell you that your credit card info, we don't store your credit card info. So nothing like that happened. Your accounts are all still there. So it was just basically Logbook of the World that got affected, and the ARRL Learning Center, if you were using that. But when we say got affected, it's completely gone. I mean, if you go to your browser and type in LoTW, it'll just sit there and spin till kingdom come. It will not connect. So the word that I've heard that's been leaking out is that they actually got hit with a cyber attack. That it wasn't just a hacker. I mean, they got attacked and took it down hard. Another thread that I was reading, and I honestly have to say I got this third hand through an email, is that the TQSL app that you have to install when you first get your Logbook of the World started up or you renew it, you get this TQSL thing, the Trusted QSL application you got to put on your computer and give it all the information of where you are and all that stuff. That apparently, if you poke around the ARRL website, you can still download that. So the concern that this one guy brought up was that, and I think it's valid because the league is not telling us a whole lot. So you really kind of have to really play it careful. The TQSL app may have been infected by this cyber attack. And if it was, and it's still available for you to download, you could conceivably download potentially some sort of virus that could be embedded in the TQSL app that you might download. So the safe thing to do right now is if you're a Logbook of the World user, obviously you can't use it. It's down. But if you're thinking about it, don't, because you could expose yourself to something. So it's what I find probably not surprising, but it is kind of sad to say the least, is that the league is really, really playing this close to the vest. They're not telling anybody much of anything. You read those 3 little things they put out, they don't tell you much of anything. They just kind of assure you your credit card info is not here. You're okay. That's it.
I wonder if we could speculate a little bit, though. I mean, how do you come back from that? First of all, right? It's still down, right?
Oh yeah, it's still down.
So it's been a month.
No, probably maybe about 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks.
So almost a month.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of Hamvention too, right? I don't suppose there was someone there who addressed the issue.
Right. Now there was a some sort of a thing like from the ARRL exec board from over a year ago, where they had they put together a task force that was actually going to revamp Logbook of the World and make it so that you could do live logging with it, be a little better for that and that kind of thing. And in it, they were looking, that's about a year and a half ago, maybe, they were looking to hire an IT person just to oversee that. So
I had always wondered whether they actually administrate that or not. It seems to me that that's something that they would have like farmed out.
You'd think, but don't know. We don't know that.
Now, why target Logbook of the World in the ARRL though? I mean,
that's a good question.
Okay, so if I'm a hacker, okay, I can think of plenty of targets, right, that I would want to try and, establish my street cred with. Right. I did NORAD, or I did Bank of America, or I did the Logbook of the World.
Yeah, exactly. Why that?
Okay, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. But there was somebody that had made a comment, because it was right through Hamvention. So somebody, I think it was on Radio Reference, there was a thread about it, and somebody put a comment up. Well, if you're at Hamvention, go to the ARRL and ask them what's going on and see how.
What are they going to tell you? I don't know.
Yeah.
What are they going to say? That poor dude there at the convention doesn't know anything about it. And that's always been a pain in the neck to use. Like I said when I started, how do you come back from that? Because it's always been clunky. And that whole, what are you going to do? You're going to get it back online, and everybody's going to have to like reload their certificates or something. You're going to
maybe what has to happen. Yeah,
you're going to have to email everybody their certificates to get, because I had just renewed mine.
Yeah.
When it was maybe a couple of months ago, they had sent me a little note, said my certificate was going to get ready to expire, and do this now. Yep. And I happened to have a minute, so I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So I just did it. Heck, maybe it was my certificate that
you must have done it. Yeah.
That blew it up.
Thanks, man. I was trying to see if I had anything out of crush it. It's all your fault.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. No, I just checked it again, and it's down. You can't get into it.
Okay. Hey, I got a few comments.
So what's the replacement then, right? Because obviously, I think it's a safe bet to say this is probably going to go on for another couple of weeks, right?
I would think at least.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: like, if you are one like these awards up here, like Worked All Continents, DXCC, that's through the league. So, and these days, Logbook of the World, if you get your 100 countries, it's you get your certificate on, basically submit your application online. It's a couple of clicks, they see the log, and they send you a certificate. Yep. So if someone's chasing some of these awards, like, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's the replacement? I mean, who's going to fill that gap?
Well, I mean, the QRZ logbook is it's actually very good. And when I say very good, I mean, like, for an online thing, I upload to it, and they've got their own little awards and blah blah blah. But it's another place to keep a log, really.
I don't know. That thing to me is a mess. It's even, I've gone in there and I've actually attempted to, sort it out and upload logs to it and stuff like that. And
you don't like it?
I get one confirmation for every 5 or 6 QSOs for it, and it's always like the time is off or something or whatever. And it's just,
you get a message that says that it doesn't. It's something that line up.
As much as I didn't like Logbook of the World, it was robust, right? I mean, it was.
It is.
Yeah,
that's right. It is.
And the QRZ is just like some kind of bolt-on afterthought thing to the whole QRZ site to me. Yeah, right. I would think that by now there would be something else out there, for people to use. In fact, this is a good segue. You remember a couple of years ago or a year or two ago, we were doing something. We were talking about doing QSLs on the blockchain,
right?
As QSLs as QSL cards as NFTs, basically. So it seems to me that time and opportunity have presented themselves. In fact, I got onto a Twitter discussion with somebody about doing it. I think back then we were talking doing it on the Elrond chain a long time ago, and it was a European thing, and it was the guy in Germany I was talking to about.
Yes, I remember you doing that.
Yeah, and somebody today I was talking to was talking about doing it on Solana, which is like super fast and cheap. And that would be an interesting thing to do. And you could just have, instead of a crypto wallet, you would have, a crypto logbook with all your transactions, and that's forever. Right. It's not like something that can be hacked and blown up or anything like that. It's distributed ledger.
Right.
So there's a thought.
Hey guys, let me catch up with some comments here. So AJ Hillbilly was mentioning black snakes. Rob VE3PCP says, and he's up by Lake Huron. Here it would be raccoons and bears.
Yeah, we got
Chris,
the raccoons.
you know about bears. You have them in your neighborhood.
We got coyotes here too.
Yeah, we have bears here.
No bears.
Coyotes.
Coyotes.
Yeah. Yep, coyotes in my area, that's for sure. Hey, Kim. Hi, everyone. Hey, Kim. Thanks for joining us. Nice to have you around.
Oh my God! I hope she
AJ
was there for my wife's story.
What's that?
Hope she wasn't there for my wife's story.
No.
That's going to get
Tracy,
through the
did you
network.
What's that?
That's going to get through the network, I'm sure.
AJ Hillbilly. Tracy, did you film that camping trip last Thursday? Yes, I did. I've got a video. It's already posted, scheduled for the beginning of June.
Did you wear
What
the
do you guys
bandana?
think? Sorry?
Did you wear the bandana?
You know what? I didn't. Not this time.
Oh, come on.
I might have. The bugs were out.
The
So I may have been wearing something like that.
bandana, right?
It's so comfortable that I forget I'm wearing it. What do you guys think of the new Logger World Radio? I don't know what that is, guys.
Don't know. I don't know.
AJ Hillbilly, come on back and tell us what that is. Maybe somebody else here in the comments can enlighten us.
Opportune time to talk about it, though.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, N2MAK, none of this, we were talking about the ARRL woes. None of this would have happened if Logbook of the World used paper and pen to log. Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
It's hard to crash a system like that, isn't it?
I'm going to jump in and say this. So a lot of guys, when they do their POTA activation, they have their laptop or something with them, and they're using some sort of logger out there, right? Is a N3 FJP. Is that the one I'm thinking? There's one of those,
right?
There's hammers. There's all these different logs that guys are using in the field. All right. I take my iPad out there all the time, and I've got a couple of logbook apps running on it. To be honest with you, when I'm doing POTA, I have a pen and paper. That's what I use. And if I want, and when I come home, I sit down. If I've got 30, 40 contacts, I just sit there and type them all into my hammer.
Totally. I use pen and paper in the shack. In fact, every QSO I've ever made, I've got a little stack of moleskins, you know, full of all that stuff. And then I transcribe it into the thing, because I can't operate and type stuff in. It just doesn't work for me.
Agreed. Yeah. When I'm here in the shack, I've got Ham Radio Deluxe running, and they've got a decent log program in it. And that's what I use in the shack. But out in the field, I got a little pad, and I just keep it that way. So.
For sure.
Chris, I did the same thing until when I was out, I logged more than 100 contacts in a POTA activation. And I was dreading sitting down for a couple of hours trying to read my chicken scratching and get it entered manually into the computer. That's when I switched.
You know, I'm surprised to hear that. Somebody as organized as you, I thought, would have had, like, ruled columns or something.
Oh, I had spreadsheets. I printed out spreadsheets for my pen and paper.
So what are you using for your logging in the field?
Hammers.
Hammers? Okay. And
it's fine. It's, I'm not a fancy guy. I don't ask for all kinds of. It's got features I don't use, like the mapping. A lot of times I'm out of cell range, so I can't use the mapping anyway. But it's pretty simple. Hey, just continuing on down with the comments. Ryan, sounds like we're going back to the ARRL here. Sounds like somebody found a vulnerability and exploited it. They're trying to see just how bad it is, or if it was an encryption attack, it could be much worse. Hey, you don't know the extent of it because they're not talking about it, right?
That's right.
See, I wouldn't be surprised to hear that Logbook of the World is kept and maintained at some data center somewhere, right? Pick them, and something else got attacked and has thus frozen the Logbook of the World system because that particular center has an issue or something like that. I'm having trouble visualizing a world in which the Logbook of the World is a target for a hacker.
Yeah. No, it seems an unlikely.
Or it could just be bad code, and they're trying to put it off as a.
All right, I'm going to throw this out there. Maybe a disgruntled ex-employee.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There aren't any of those.
And not necessarily of ARRL,
right,
but of an IT-related organization.
Or I could easily see some closet at the ARRL that has like a 1996, NT server or something like that.
Yep.
That, that's the Logbook of the World, and somebody, spilled a drink on it or something, and now they've got to rebuild it again. I wouldn't let that story get out either.
Yeah.
Right.
Hackers, man, hackers.
Have to spin it. Have to
Chinese
spin
hackers.
it.
Trying to get
Andrew, N1YLO, Polo as a logger is better than Hammers. Now, I use an iPad, and I'm not really familiar with Polo. So I'm going to have to check that one out if it runs on the iPad. AJ Hillbilly, seen it on channels showing WRL at Dayton, looked interesting. If you do a search here, it should show up.
Okay.
Are we talking about logging software?
Yeah, he's talking about his
That logging thing he was talking about. Yep.
Yeah, 2 comments up.
World Radio League.
There you go.
Hang on a sec here, guys. Let me share the screen. Tim, I'm liking this feature.
Nice.
Wow. There it is. Huh.
Future of ham radio logging is here.
Hey, maybe they're the guys that brought down Logbook of the World.
A great business strategy, huh?
There you go.
Okay, now what is it compatible with is what I want to know.
Radio.
Thank you.
No, I mean which platform?
Could you plug your ICOM into it, Tracy?
Probably, but it again, like I don't have a laptop to take out into the field, so so I wouldn't be able to use it if it requires Windows. But if it will run on an iPad, I could use it. Anyway, let's continue along here. We got Mike. Mike's using hammers to log POTA, SOTA, winter field day, etc. I'll try the new logging app sometime soon, though. But I always have paper and pen handy in case.
Yep.
That's an excellent point, Mike. I do the same. 2 is 1. 1 is not.
That's right. It was one is none.
Pencil.
Tommy Boy. Hey, Tommy Boy's with the gang here. That's fantastic. Andrew's coming back. N1YLO.
Is that a Buckethead icon? Is that? Go back to Tommy Boy. Yeah, I guess it is. Okay.
We are Devo. That's really dating me.
No. Buckethead. Buckethead is a.
The epitome of bad 80s music.
Well, you were in Dayton. You could have gone, 50 miles to Devo's hometown.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that they were
Akron, Ohio.
Jeez. Andrew, N1YLO. I'm going to try to keep this on track, guys. We're deviating badly here.
Don't blame me.
Oh, no, I wasn't blaming anybody. Polo Logger spots you to POTA spotting page without leaving the logger. It has all, that's kind of cool. That's really cool. It has all POTA, SOTA, WWF, etc. spots, and do SOTA and POTA at the same location. Will export each ADI file.
Huh.
That's pretty great. And Andrew, it runs on Droid and iOS, so it's definitely an option for me. WRL is live on Coffee and Ham Radio right now. Look at this. Okay, all right. How would you know, Don? You're supposed to be watching us. But anyway, let's just. I'm teasing Don. Thank you for being here.
Right.
Andrew, N1YLO, same guys that were keeping files safe at ARRL. We're also the same guys keeping Ashley Madison.
Oh, yeah. They tell you that was a close one.
Yeah. Hey, we got Rob, VE3PCP back. So what's the plans for field day? I'm so glad you asked because I want to get to that. And hey, it's the theme of tonight's show, and we're already at 48 minutes in, and we haven't even got down through some of the other stuff that we wanted to touch on. But this is great. Rob, I am going out to a provincial park. We'll talk about, I'm gonna use this as an opportunity right now to talk about that. So first off, Chris, do you have any plans for field day?
Well, I've been kicking it around. Last year I did I did a POTA mini rove, I guess you could call it. I did 3 parks on field day, and it was fun. I mean, I activated 3 parks and I operated field day in a day, so that was kind of fun. This year, I don't know. I'm kicking around like whether to just find a local outdoor place and set the gear up, and if it's a POTA park, fine. If not, fine. Just get on and play around for a couple hours to see what's going on. I don't have a specific like a plan in mind of like what I want to test or what I want to try. I really haven't been thinking that way this time around, so I'm not sure.
Okay. I, on the other hand, field day is it for me, right? I start dreaming of field day the moment after the previous year's field day has ended, right? And by the way, I'm kind of proud of this, but I guess that's just my own vanity. This year will be my 10th annual field day video.
Wow.
I'll have actually produced a video for 10 straight years of field days. A few of those were with other people, but most of them by myself. So
Right.
I'm kind of excited about that one, thinking, holy cow, has it really been 10 years? Let's take a look here. I want to show you an aerial view of where I'm going to be operating from. So this is Google Maps here. That body of water at the bottom here, that is Lake Erie. Couple of years ago, I operated from this is a park, a camping park. I operated from this little area right up in here, and it was pretty good and all. But while I was there, I took a break on the Friday, setting up antennas, setting up shelters. I needed to take a little stroll, so I came down the road and walked along. And almost right across the street, and that's a gravel road. It's not a street, of course. There's a campsite, and this campsite is like this green patch in here is the actual campsite. This all down here, like this. So you see, I want to sort of set out the boundaries. These are trees. There's a row of trees to the east. There's another big row of trees to the west.
Is that where you put up the G5RV? I remember you with the.
That is where I put up the G5RV.
I remember you with the SG.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, Tim, no, because it was a couple of years ago. This was the mini Wyndham that I put up.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. Now, what I think is there's a couple of really cool things about this particular site. So anyway, I took a look at this site right here, and that green patch is the grass. There's this row of trees, and then it looks like there's another site here, but that's not actually another site. They haven't made that into a site.
Aha.
So there's an actual site here, and then there's a space, and then there's another site there. But take a look here, so you can see the green, and down here where it starts to get bushy and all. I'll zoom in a bit. That's all a field, overgrown with brush and all, but not very high. That means I have, and if you take, you probably aren't going to be able to see this, but the scale is such that from the road down to where the back of this field area ends is something like 300 feet.
Wow.
It's long.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody next in the next laneway, because it's not a campsite. I've got some privacy. So I can be making noise with the radios. That's not, nobody's going to bother me. But I'm thinking now what I'm going to be doing. I've got this plan. I'm going to take my my telescopic pole, my 50-foot DX wire telescopic pole. Tim, I'm going to take one of your. I've got the 80 through 10 meter off-center fed that I'm going to use.
Ah, the Lake Huron.
Yep. But I'm also going to take, I've got a high-end fed, 80 meter. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to put your antenna up on the pole as an inverted V. And I'm going to be able to operate 80 through 10 on that one. But now I've got some of these 4-foot fiberglass telescopic poles. They're not telescopic. They stack one upon another. They're 4-foot lengths. You guys have probably seen them at flea markets or whatnot. It's like a 4-foot green fiberglass pole, and they just sort of one dovetails on top of the other. Now they were originally made for things like camo shelters, like if you wanted like camo netting, it would hold up camo netting.
Yeah, the military poles. Yep.
So what I'm going to do is and I've got 16 of them in the garage that I bought a number of years ago. What I plan on doing is, and here's a practical limitation of those things. If you put too much weight on them, where they join, they will crack. So
fiberglass
about
one.
the most, yeah, about the most you can stack up if you're really careful is 4. But I'm going to use 3, and I'm going to put one at the back end of the campsite here. I'm going to put another one about a third, let's call it halfway down, and then another one again 3 sections high, about 12 feet, down at the far end. So what I'm going to have is an NVIS antenna for 40 and 80 during the day, and I want to compare them. I want to see how it's going to how the inverted V with the apex up at 40 feet is going to compare to the NVIS. So that's my project for Field Day. I can't wait. I'm already looking forward to getting out there and giving this a try.
Great, that's cool.
So that's my Field Day.
I think,
and I'll be so just talking a little bit more about Field Day, right? So, I entitled this "Maximizing the Experience" because, I think it's important that you have an idea about what you want to achieve when you get out there, and it may just be, hey, I just want to get out and get some fresh air, throw up an antenna, and make a few contacts. And that's fantastic, but just make sure you think things through. Okay, what do I need to make that happen? If your objective is to make as many contacts as you possibly can, well, that's pretty cool. What was that, Tim?
You're trying to refocus.
Oh, okay. If your ambition is to make as many contacts as possible, how are you going to do that? You're going to bring along 100 watts and a big battery, and you're going to put your antenna up high. You're going to take a high gain antenna like one of these hex beams. Think about stuff like that, but also don't forget stuff like, what am I going to eat? It's what is the weather going to be like?
Right.
Am I going out with other people? Who's the ringleader? Does somebody need to appoint a ringleader so that nobody forgets anything and presumes that the other person was going to bring something? These are all factors that will go into making your Field Day really enjoyable or not.
If I can just jump in on that, I agree 110%. Having a plan is absolutely key, I think, for Field Day. Even to your point, even if it's just to go out and I'm going to set up and play radio. But the other thing you want to keep in mind too is having operated Field Day, not as often as you have, Tracy. But I'm like, you have to also set your expectations for how it's going to be on the air. It's not like everyone there is on the radio and you're going to just make contact after contact after contact. It doesn't always work that way.
Oh, that's true.
Right, especially if you're QRP, it's going to be really you got to set your expectations. Like, hey, if I'm there for 8 hours, I might get 10 contacts. Especially if you're QRP.
What radio?
Yeah, really good point. And so that's where you have to temper in some of your expectations, because stuff's going to happen. The bands might be awful. We might get another solar storm.
Yeah.
And you expected to be able to just rattle off a couple hundred contacts.
Yeah.
And you may not be able to. Hey, we're getting some feedback on this, so I want to get some of the comments on here. What have we got here? Don, have both the tabs open. He's listening to that coffee and ham radio at the same time he's listening to us. Hey, that's fantastic, Don. Amazing. Rob saying, I may set up portable at the Inverhuron Provincial Park, which is right in my backyard. You have no idea how envious I am. Second option that I'm waiting for approval is the Emergency Operations Center in Kincardine parking lot. Did there the last 2 years. That's pretty cool. But I'll tell you what, parking lots don't interest me all that much, because if it's hot and the sun's beaming down, boy, oh boy, there's a lot of radiated heat coming back at you, Rob. So I hope you get to work the experience that you want. All right, he says, look up Inverhuron Provincial Park. You will see our club shown on the map. Let's go and do that.
It's funny. I've often thought about setting the church that I pastor at has a pretty good size lawn area in the front, and I've thought about bringing my small tent and setting myself up there and working all day into the night and waking up Sunday morning and say, oh, I got to go preach. I don't know how that would fly, but I've thought about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it depends on what your sermon would be about. I think if you
That's true. If it's about
if
not being able to work some guy in Kentucky, I'd be pretty upset.
maybe if you did something on patience and persistence.
If you
You
and
know?
you'll see my size 14 foot went through my radio.
Yeah. Are your feet that big, Chris? Oh, and I get called Bigfoot around here.
When you're as tall as I am, you don't want to get blown over in the wind. So
Yeah. As my father used to say, it's good to have a good understanding. All right, here we go. So here's Inver Huron Provincial Park that Rob was talking about. And just to give you some idea, this is Lake Huron,
right.
The eastern shore, of course, because we're talking in Ontario. And so Rob says, you will see our club shown on the map.
I see Fin City Fish and Chips.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. If you've got that close drive to field day, man, you are all set. All right. Good stuff. Hey, let's move along. I've got a couple. Oh, I've got more than a couple. Hillbilly, AJ Hillbilly. XYL and I drove past the National Buffalo, Arkansas, stopped and asked at Wild Bill's Ron I could drive to. He showed me on a map. Ron offered that I could set up in their parking lot after hours. Well, that's kind of nice.
Local cooperation. That's wonderful.
Yeah. That's actually a good thing for field day.
Okay, here's James again. KC8OPV. Hey, thanks, James. Tracy, that's enough space for a full wave loop for field day. I don't have one, and I won't have enough time to build one, James, but I hear what you're saying. It sure is, and one of these days. All right, what do we got? Robert Varner. I'm going to use my backyard instead of a field. Hey, it's
right there with you.
That works. That works. I've done it.
Do your field day.
Yep.
And you know what? You got a barbecue right there. You got a washroom right inside the house.
Can't forget anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. I've done it. It's a lot of fun.
Mosquitoes.
Hey, we got Wade, VA3NCA. Hey, Wade, thanks for joining. Late to the stream, catching up on ×2 speed. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, congrats. I can't do that. Tracy, I know you will take backup antennas. Yes, sir. I certainly will. I like to do that. Hey, we got Richard E. My expectation is logging my calls into Logbook of the World, so he thinks it'll be back up and running.
Okay.
Rob, VE3PCP, high above the Lake Huron shoreline. Oh, that's got to be an amazing location. Richard E., I'll be atop Reddish Knob on the West Virginia border for field day.
Wow.
Wow. Now, knobs, correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, aren't they infamous for lightning strikes? When the weather is hot and humid? I've done a lot of... I was into backpacking a number of years ago, and I did a lot of reading on Appalachian Trail and the guys coming up to the knobs and coming in stormy weather, and they really had to book it through there to avoid the thunderstorms. Okay, Rob saying right next door to Fin City Chefs. What a great name.
That's where I'd be.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can set up in their parking lot, then you'd be all set, man.
No, that would be a bad idea. You'd just be smelling fish and chips all day. N0 LSD, field day plan. Hike into a POTA location. Camp overnight. Oh, that sounds amazing. Set up the N9 SAB off-center fed dipole and activate the park. Battery and solo.
That way you get a link chip. You get the whole thing.
Can't go wrong.
I love that. I completely love that. Which rig would you use for QRP? Tell us that. Rod Murray, here he is, VA3MZD. Nice to have you on board, Rod. Just logged in late after our club wires XNet. Our club sets up field day on an unused airstrip just south of Elmira, Ontario, north of Waterloo. Let me just do present here and share screen. So we'll see where Rod's going to be.
Wow, nice.
Elmira. Good people in that club. So there's Elmira, and that's where Rob's going to be. This is Lake Ontario over here. Elmira's over here. So very cool. All right, who's next? Rob. Okay, so we talked about Rob. Okay. Wait a minute. Sorry, I skipped. My machine is.
No, Rob said his house is right next door to Finn City Fish and Chips. Did you see that? Oh man.
I think I'd be about 300 pounds if I lived right next door to a place like that. N0LSD had me with hike into a POTA. Shane, that is your speed, isn't it? That's
it. It's up his alley. That's right.
Yep. N0LSD QRP via either a Zygu G90 or a True SDX. There's a couple of cool rigs. Mike, N2MAK, other than stopping by to say hello, I haven't done anything on field day. Mike, somebody could make the argument that you do enough through the year with your POTA stuff that you're off the hook. But I would still encourage you to get out and try to do your own field day. If you're not hooking up with a club. I mean, it's a different experience. There was a conflict the last couple of years, but maybe this year will be different. I'm always out portable, so no big deal. You've learned so much about portable operation.
Oh, yeah.
No reason. All you got to do is add in the whether it's the camping or the some of the other logistics that go along with it. I think you'd do great. Richard E, I guess, but I have. Okay, we're talking about thunderstorms on knobs. I guess, but I haven't experienced that so far. Richard, I hope that continues. I do need to alert Sheldon at Green Bank Telescope because Reddish Knob is in the NQZ. What's the NQZ?
It's there's a no radio zone out there in West Virginia someplace.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, well there's an NSA listening station, so like the surrounding 10 miles is like a no electromagnetic frequency zone.
Huh.
Oh, interesting.
Did not know that.
Well, learn something new on the channel every time.
Every day, every time we're on here, we learn something new.
At least I think that's what I think that's what he's talking about. I could be wrong.
Yeah, let us know.
Somewhere out there in West Virginia, there is an area that's no radio transmissions of any kind of thing.
Huh. Well,
okay, check this out. Rod, VA3MZD. Before field day, I am helping to sail a friend's 39-foot sailboat from Charleston, South Carolina to Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia.
Oof.
Question, should I take my True SDX and Tim's 20-meter dipole on board? Tim, over to you, sir.
Absolutely. If he's got a sailboat, you have a natural mast.
Yeah.
I hate to abuse the word, but you have a natural mast with which to do it. Hoping that it's fiberglass, though, not necessarily aluminum. Aluminum might you might get a little bit of detuning, but is it worth it? I would absolutely think so.
Why not?
With a saltwater plane like that?
Oof. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it's like having an amplifier.
I would also, as a companion piece, I would even take. I would hop onto NSAB's eBay store and pick up a end-fed half wave with a counterpoise and stick that in the saltwater and trail that along. Put some bait on it. Put some bait on the counterpoise.
Bait on it.
and run that up as like a sloper too.
That'd be better than Finn City, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends. I don't know what you're going to catch going up the coast to Nova Scotia. I don't know if do you go through the Grand Banks at all up there?
Oh no, that's off Newfoundland, isn't it? That's
I don't know.
A little bit further on.
It's all the Great White North to me, and it isn't.
All right. Hey, listen.
So you can pick up some marlin off South Carolina and some cod off of Nova Scotia somewhere.
Sounds reasonable. Okay, Rob VE3PCP. My first field day as a licensed ham was 1986. We used my Kenwood TS520, which I still have and used for field day the last 2 years. That is very cool.
Fantastic. The 520 was like my first boat anchor radio too.
Great radio.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Hey, Richard is coming back. Tim, looks like you were banging on the National Quiet Zone. Wow, very interesting.
Well, anyone with a natural distrust and suspicion of government would know that they're doing some stuff there. Who knows?
Oh, you think?
Okay, AJ Hillbilly got a true story in the 60s.
With my money too, right, and yours too.
Oh yeah, we're paying for everything they do. Got a true story. In the 60s, our club in Sacramento, California went to old building in the Sierras, went in, checked out bathroom, a bat flew at us, and then out the tilt window. What a first field day.
Nice.
Whoa, okay, so hold on. In the 60s, our club Sacramento, they went to the old building in the Sierras, went in, checked out the bathroom, a bat flew at us, then out the tilt window. Nice.
Yeah.
You're getting close to nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what, I don't know, what do bats carry? Don't they? Can't you catch something from bats?
Pretty much anything.
Hey,
Hantavirus or something?
it took him a while, but look who's finally showed up. Philip,
Wow.
K4KOE.
He's late, all right.
And Philip has been sending me a bunch of stuff. And Philip, I have been reading it. Thank you. And what the heck? Well, we've got you here. Just let me just.
It'll give you some insight into the way Philip's mind works. It comes in waves, kind of like radio waves, you know. So you'll get something, and then you'll get something, and then you'll get something. He would never like consolidate it into one thing and then send it out once for you to read. You get little bits at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Here's
little McNuggets. Philip McNuggets.
Here's Philip's YouTube channel. Folks watching, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. He does extremely short videos. They're a little bit longer than actual YouTube shorts, but he does a lot of fun stuff with antennas, and I find him to be a very interesting fellow and retired engineer. You know, and
He's not retired. No, he's still working. He's still.
Is he still working?
Yeah, he's still working. He has time for that and his videos too. But
Wow.
but his is a cool channel to keep an eye on because he does a lot of quirky stuff. You know, there's nothing. I was teasing about the way his mind works, but he'll do things. That's why I like sending him things too, because he's absolutely a beast on equipment. You know, yeah. He likes to break things, so it's fun to see if they can stand the Philip test or not.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he would think of things. He would think of things that I would never think of. Like, I don't know. He put out a video the other day about he took a buddy. He took a coal off a buddy coil, ran twin lead to it through one of my 4-to-1 matching units. Check it out. It's fun.
Okay, cool. Hey, listen. While we're at it, I don't think I showed this earlier. Scout 75 Shane, who's in attendance. He's got a great YouTube channel too.
Oh,
so
sure.
if you haven't checked it out, please go check that out.
Follow him on Twitter too. He's a good tweeter. He's a good tweeter.
All right.
And if you check him out, make sure you like and sub.
Hey, Richard E has put in the chat a link to information on the United States National Radio Quiet Zone.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Thank you for that, Richard. First in 1980, HW8 FD.
Man,
well, that's one of the Heathkit
Heathkit
QRP rig, right?
It is. Yep. That was a great.
That was so they had an HW7 and an 8 and a 9. Am I right about that?
Yep, that's right.
And each one was progressively a little bit better than the one that came forward to it. Yeah, nice series of rigs. Okay, AJ Hillbilly. Tim wanted to use the bat to carry light wire. It'd take him a little while to get there, I'm thinking.
Not at night.
N0 LSD. Okay, dinner break at work over. Hey, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. 7-3 to you. And Philip, still in the salt mine, not retired. Okay. All right. And 61 years old. I actually got you beat by a couple there.
Yep.
4 years left with third ID. Not sure what the third ID is.
Yeah, 3rd Infantry Division.
Hang on a second. I think this enlightens me here. 22 years of Fed service so far. Okay, ID is referring to
Infantry Division.
Okay.
Yeah, 3rd Infantry, 3rd ID. 3rd ID is the blue. You see like pictures from World War II with guys on their helmets, and they've got that blue and white stripe patch on their helmet. That's 3rd ID.
Okay, so is that military we're talking about?
Infantry Division, yeah, U.S. Army.
Okay.
3rd Infantry Division.
Cool.
All right, AJ Hillbilly.
Yeah, he's a Fed. He's a Fed, by the way.
Okay. Tweeter sub, what about woofer? Oh, we were talking about Shane being a tweet. All I could afford. He's talking about the HW817. You did pretty good for a 17-year-old.
That's right. That's a great radio. Yep.
All right. And Rod Murray, VA3MZD, was in the infantry division.
No, I think he's telling us what ID stands for.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Hey, guys, we've got a couple of other things we can touch on while we're going at it here. We made that list up earlier. Tim, I think you were going to make a comment about this, but MFJ, no more.
Oh,
yeah. Did you have
okay? It's look, I have MFJ stuff. Everybody does. Okay?
Everybody does. Yeah.
And,
nope. I sold all of mine off after.
But you had it. You've had it. You have bought MFJ.
I did own it, and then I got rid of it as quickly as I could.
Okay. Well,
you're the reason they run out of business.
You're in the,
I
you're
apparently
in the
am.
club then. Okay, you're in the club, and my heart goes out to the people there. All right,
Yep.
whose plant is closing, and I just can't. Another thing I just can't envision is that somebody or someone or something doesn't come along and pick that up. You know, you're just not going to lose that much capacity out of the industry and not have it picked up in some way.
Well, remember they also didn't didn't he buy up High Gain and Cushcraft and
Ameritron and yeah.
So there's a lot of companies that rolled into the MFJ toward the end here. So
okay, so why is it being sold? Why doesn't the guy just sell it?
No, he's well, I think he tried to sell it, but he had no buyers.
That's what I heard.
Okay.
So, and what does that mean? Like, think about it. You put your house up for sale. If nobody's buying it, that means one thing. You're asking too much.
You got a crappy house.
No, you're asking too much money for whatever the house is. So maybe he wanted more than they were willing to give.
Okay. Yeah, but you know what? But in the end, though, if the price you're asking is too high, you bring down the price. You don't just.
That's my point.
You don't burn the house down.
Right, exactly. Unless you want to burn the house down. Right? Now, I am going to.
Doesn't make sense.
Here's the thing. Okay, so at one time, I controversial comment coming. At one time, Cushcraft was a good, solid brand name.
They were.
Ameritron was a good, solid brand name.
Yep.
High Gain was a good, solid, reputable name.
Many years. Yep.
Those reputations took a beating after MFJ started doing their stuff. You know, basically carrying on the line because then the MFJ quality started seeping into those products too. So,
well, okay.
Are they actually? Do those name brands actually have any much cachet anymore? I understand that Ameritron is beloved by a lot of people, and some of that may be as a result of older gear that's still around from the day. But what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that CBS bought Fender a long time ago, and then everybody hated CBS Fenders, and AMX bought Harley Davidson, and everybody hated Harley Davidsons for a while. But both of those brands survived and are back, and somebody picked them up because you have a name, you have goodwill, you've got infrastructure, you've got assets that can be bought on the cheap, right? Or at least they should be able to be bought on the cheap rather than just straight up closed. If worst comes to worst, you could just sell the name, and somebody could do what they want with it. Anyway, it doesn't make sense. It just goes away. So we're not getting the full story.
Well, I think. Well, remember now, the story is that they're ceasing manufacturing. They're still going to sell whatever they've got, support whatever they've got for I don't know how long, but probably not very long. But
so their inventory carries them for a couple of months,
and then that's it. Right.
Yeah, and Rob's right. Cheaper to wait until they go out of business and buy them after the dust settles. Well, if they're not willing to sell now, why would they be willing to settle after it just closes and goes away? It doesn't add up.
Mm-hmm. Hey, here's Rob, right? And Rob is presenting a diametrically opposite viewpoint to the one I just expressed, and I get it. I'm ignorant of the amplifier market. I bought an AL 811 brand new last December from DX Engineering, so he clearly has no issue. You know, they're not giving those things away, as it clearly has no issue giving good money towards that particular product. So maybe they did a good job with that.
Yeah, you know, listen, and if they do go away and they're not a part of anything anymore, there's that nature reports a vacuum, and that space will be filled with, you know, maybe a number of boutique manufacturers that'll come in. Hell, you know, maybe Coffee and Ham Radios now go to the auction and buy up the toroid winders they've got or something. You know.
Yeah.
So there's another twist to this, and I don't know if I saw it on a video or I read it somewhere. And somebody was commenting that, okay, so there's the stuff we're talking about. MFJ's, you know, it's going away. It's a product line, blah blah blah, right? What are like the collateral damages from this, right? They are a major advertiser in QST, like 6, 8, 10 pages. That's now how's the league going to make up for that?
Oops.
They're maintaining the log over the world service.
Oops. Maybe do you think ad space will become suddenly a little more economical?
Yeah.
I'll have to do something.
I might think about it. You know.
Hey, here's AJ Hillbilly. MFJ should have sold off the separate companies while they could.
Totally.
What about Marlin rifles bought by Remington and they ruined them? Finally, Ruger obtained Marlin and they look good now. All right, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what is this? I'm getting old. I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm just going to shut the whole thing down and put all these people out of work. What?
So Richard says the MFJ owner is 80 years old, and he said they never recovered from COVID. Most of the inventory is already sold.
I don't believe that. There are more hams now. There are more new hams coming online, right? Than ever before, specifically.
Absolutely.
Because of the pandemic. And everybody, look, and not everybody is going to walk out and go buy a Titan Vertical or something like that. They want the cheap shit. They just do.
What we know.
And who sells cheap shit?
So we do know this. I mean, COVID adversely affected an enormous number of small to medium-sized businesses.
No doubt.
And MFJ is probably a small business. You know, probably fewer than 100 employees. I don't even know how they qualify small business, what the category is. But you know, maybe they were forced to stay home. Maybe they had to shut down. I don't know any of this, but it's conceivable. You know, when the craziness was going on and people were getting pulled over in their cars for being out and not social distancing, you know, there was all kinds of that craziness going on. People were afraid to come out of their homes. You know, something might have happened. So anyway, let's take a look at Philip came back. Maybe designer of Ameritron amps will buy it back. Tom, WHAI. Philip knows him. He's brilliant. Nothing to do with the company after MFJ bought it. Wonder, Tom's got to be getting on, wouldn't you think, if he was the designer? Richard, someone should form a company and buy MFJ.
That is, you know what, there is that idea I've heard floated a couple of times. It's not a bad idea. You know, I bet if you got 10 guys, you know, with some reason, MFJ can't be that big, right? If they're, I don't know if they're a small business or not, but I would imagine that their sales are probably less than $50 million a year, right? Would not be that big of a deal, but you have to go in but you're looking at buying assets. So you're looking at buying the land, the facility, the equipment, and things like that. It's going to be a lot cheaper after than before. Yep. So I don't know what I don't know who the gentleman that owns it. I don't know what he has no kids. He has no nieces and nephews. I mean, he doesn't have any. I mean, he's a ham. He's got to know 100 hams. They can't form a co-op and just buy the thing. It doesn't. Nothing about this makes sense. You just don't wake up. I'm going to close it down. You know?
All right, Mike, N2MAK at Hamvention. There was literally a void without MFJ in the spot because they had big booths, didn't they? In their spot, their booth was mostly empty eyeball QSO land.
Okay, so N9SAB is going to go buy the booth.
I knew it. I told you.
I might be able to fit it in my garage, you know, if I take everything else out.
Then you're going to set up a booth at Hamvention. I knew it.
Hey,
Booth.
hey,
A
Philip's
booth.
got a great
I would
idea.
imagine they probably have they probably have like a complex, not a booth. You know,
Philip's got a great idea here, Tim. Check this out.
that
Timtronic Supply.
yeah.
I know.
Okay, I think
I
we've
do
done
listen.
the
Hey, I
MFA.
do have manufacturing management experience. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility. You know,
And look, you could
Okay.
get one of those ad pages in QSD. You could get one of them.
I've run larger plants than MFJ could possibly be. So you know, I mean, what are we talking about? A bunch of smaller machines, maybe little production lines and things like that.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's one of those little quilty operations. Okay, yeah, sure. Let me get my check. Let me get my checkbook. Let's see what-
So Philip's got another little comment for you here, Tim.
The man blows his nose on Franklin's. I do. I like my cigars with him too. Yeah. That's why my Coca-Cola is imported.
I see.
There you go.
That's top drawer, man.
It's $2.
Okay, AJ Hillbilly. Quality control would be number one issue. Well, that would scare anybody like me away from it. Owner of MFJ has plenty of family. I do not think they want.
They probably
All
don't.
right, let's move on.
Every family-owned, personality-owned business I've ever run into has quirks, and they are all related to the guy who owns it, right? And they do things a certain way because that's the way this guy wanted to do it, and is not necessarily optimized for anything other than.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Every organization wears the stamp of its owner. Right? It's a reflection of that person.
Especially one like that. I mean, I am sure that everything there revolved around this dude, right? And he'd probably walk around the plant floor and, you're winding the toy the wrong way or something. And all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably had everybody shaking in their boots. Who knows? I don't know.
Anyway,
I think the world will go on, though.
It will.
I'm fairly certain that it will. Electromagnetic Mischief. Here we go with Philip again. Doing field day with new club this year with my bro. How great is that? Wish my brother would get into ham radio. Jeez, that's cool. The Mid Georgia Radio Association. Well, have fun. I want to hear all about that. Okay, guys, let's go back to Hamvention. So, the three of us rather. We're sort of thinking over this idea of going to Hamvention next year. I'm trying to talk Tim into it. I think Chris is mostly convinced that we can do this. Tim's a little crowd shy. I'm probably using that somewhat tongue in cheek. And
there's that guy who in the corner. Fuck him.
What's that?
Let's get him. Stop him.
That's beautiful. But that's the beautiful thing about having an eBay store. Nobody sees you. Nobody knows your face.
Nobody knows who you are.
Which was true
You're
until
going under the radar.
Yeah,
Right.
which was true until I got on the network ham radio show here.
Yeah, that was your decision.
Hamvention is a must-do. There's no doubt about it. At some point, yes, it's a must-do. But I'm off the hook for another year. So,
well, I'm going to start putting the pressure on because we're probably, if we're going to go, we're going to need to figure something out by November so that we can book a hotel room in advance at a reasonable price.
Let's just run a Winnebago and do it like that.
I'm okay with that, but we need 3 Winnebagos. We're coming from 3 different directions.
No, we'll get the Winnebago early and we'll drive around and pick everyone up.
Or actually leave it to Tracy. Find us a campground.
Look, man. Look, if you wanted to do that, I'd do a thing, right? And we get the Winnebago, we turn it into like the mobile shack, right? And we hit all the parks and stuff on the way and come back. We go to Dayton, hit the Air Force Museum, right? We drive up to Chris in Connecticut. We can hit New York City there, see a show, come back down. Go to Hamvention. We turn it into a thing. We could drive through the National Quiet Zone.
You may blow your nose with Franklin's, but I don't.
Well, how much does it cost to rent a Winnebago for a couple of weeks? It doesn't. I mean, it's not that much. I mean, it would be as much as hotels and stuff like that.
A couple of weeks.
Unless you're staying at like the Budget Inn in Xenia or someplace, I don't know. Which, according to, if you've got 35,000 people, that budget in, king size with a balcony is prime real estate, right?
Yep. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Okay.
one weekend out of the year.
So we're thinking about that. But did you guys hear of anything coming out of Hamvention? Anybody in the chat kind of hear something coming out of Intervention that really caught your eye? I do know that ICOM was showing off the innards of a radio. Now, I watched a little bit of a video on YouTube showing it, and then I realized, okay, this thing's got multiple boards in it. This is going to be a very high-end radio. That was my takeaway. And at that point, I kind of lost interest because I don't swim in that pool. Hey, look who's here. Hang on a sec. We got Kevin. I'm going to try and make it next year. Kevin, that would be awesome. To get together, see
He's
you.
in Iowa, right?
Iowa.
Kevin's in Iowa?
Yeah.
No, that's 3 hours away. I'll pick him up first.
He can pick you up on the way through.
Let's do it.
I number one, I'm glad to hear that Kevin is.
I could put my hands on an Airstream.
Kevin, you'd be riding in style. I'm glad to hear Kevin's okay because they had a heck of a weather pattern.
Yeah, they did. Did you see those photos? Did you see those videos where they were tearing down the windmills and stuff like that? I was watching that live on. Do you guys watch Ryan Hall, y'all, at all?
I've seen him a couple times.
Yeah. See, when storms get bad and they start looking like they might come this way, I always turn him on and kind of, because he does the play-by-play for all this stuff. And then I guess it was Reed Timmer who posted those things, and they were on Twitter, right? You had little snippets, but it was yesterday or the day before he put out like the full-length video where it was, you see the thing, hit the windmill and the windmill falls down. It was absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right there.
Massive.
They didn't have stuff like that when I was a kid.
No.
Thank goodness. All right. Got a few comments. The X60, AJ Hillbilly. That was the ICOM one we were just talking about. So, and they're just asking people to guess. If you haven't seen it, they're just asking people to guess. Hey, what do you think this radio is?
It was the mystery radio, right?
Yes.
The big reveal.
Yeah.
They'll have like a gender reveal for their radio.
Yeah, it's going to be in Tokyo or something like that when they're going to reveal it. So
Don thinks it's
going
to be an SDR.
They saw your video and got scared. That's what it was.
We talked about what did you see that was great there? And Philip says no FT897D replacement. Boy, Yesu are asleep at the switch. Hey, Ryan Hall, y'all. His brothers go storm chasing.
I want to go storm chasing.
Those guys are a little off kilter, I think. What do we got? Zygu's new 6200, a non-starter, only 8 watts and $800. Went up for order today. Okay, so not interested, Philip.
No thanks.
No, that is a lot of money for that.
Does it have a tuner built in?
I believe it does.
Because that's the first thing people are going to ask.
It might not, though, But still, I mean, you cannot beat a G90 for, what is it, Chris? Radiotity, $500.
$500. Yeah,
stuff?
About 500. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Zygu.
Yeah, I can't go storm chasing because all my videos are out of focus. Look at that. I'd make a.
Yeah, you'd be terrible.
I'd make a crappy storm chaser.
Yeah, we can't see anything.
Look at that twister. Where?
This thing is. Sorry, give me 1 sec here. Let me share my screen.
I bought the camera. Tracy told me to.
Oh,
did you? I wish you hadn't. I really wish you hadn't.
Did you watch Tracy's video on 5 things he didn't like about his camera?
No, I missed that one. 5 things I hate about my webcam, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, the list would be longer than 5.
I already had to replace the microphone.
Oh, that sounds good. You got that FM radio voice going again. I like that.
There you go.
All right. So here you go. It's actually
20 watts from Chicago, Illinois.
$620.
That's if you get the bundle. The radio
the
itself
bundle.
is cheaper.
Oh, okay.
And the case is probably the most expensive thing. Go back. Hey. Go
I'm trying to find the price.
$639.34 for the bundle. I told you.
Oh no, there it is, 620.
No, you guys are telling me that
Right
it's
there,
less.
Tracy, you're right on
by
it.
the radio.
Tracy, your cursor's right at the price.
$620.
No, but you guys said that was the bundle price.
No, the
I
bundle's up
Six-
above it.
Okay.
bundle's-
Slow down.
Okay.
Go up. $639.34 is the bundle, right?
Right.
$620 is for the radio because they
Okay.
want you to buy the bundle. No one in their right mind is going to pay $620 and then get the bundle for $20 more. Oh, I don't want the bundle. Forget that.
You
I'm
know what
saving
worries
$20.
me? Well, okay, I've got a number of things that worry me. I'm taking a look at this cooling fan. And I'm thinking if a
Yeah.
radio needs a cooling fan to stay cool, I probably want to stay away. I used to own an ICOM 7000. You know, the little, it was like the replacement for their 706 Mark II-G, but it had the color screen. That was the hottest running radio I ever had. And I sold it because I was worried about long-term longevity. It ran that hot. I actually bought a computer muffin fan to sit on top of it whenever I operated it. So I don't like hot rigs. Heat kills electronics.
The fan, I think, is just a gimmick, right? I mean, it's just a little thing you could throw in the. I have mine. I don't need it. Okay, it's not necessary. And that the Xiegu CE19 data interface expansion, that thing is kind of crappy. There's a better one. It escapes my mind right now.
Really, what you get, and it's worth it, is for an extra $20, you're getting that case, right?
That case, yeah.
Now, here's the thing: if you'll notice, is you can't. I don't believe you can use the the discount coupon codes on a bundle through Radiodity, but you can when you just buy the radio.
Here we go. Hey, I'm missing some comments in the section here, guys. Let me see here.
Rob Noakes says, "Turn off the autofocus. I would if I knew how."
Here, let's go. I put this across like this, and Ryan, I got my G90 for $400.
Yeah.
Able to hit Germany on 20 watts and never needed a fan.
Yep. And I got the bundle. I think
you got up to less than 500, if I remember.
That was $499. I got the bundle for $499, but it was a sale. It was like a Christmas New Year's sale.
Yeah.
And I remember because I thought I did it in 2022, but it might have been the beginning of 2023. It was like that week, right between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, probably maybe you wait till Black Friday or something like that. They might get a deal.
Well, let me tell you something. With Radiodity, you can. I know this because of the GMRS rig. You can go to like someone's someone's channel. If they've talked about like a Radiodity thing, a lot of times in the comments they'll put the Radiodity discount code, and you get like 10-15% off sometimes. So,
I know that if I were a big time YouTuber, I would be making a lot of noise and wait for Radiodity to just send me one.
Yeah.
So I know this because since I bought the GMRS rig from them, I did get an email from them where you can, if you are an influencer, right? It's not that they sought me out. It was just like one of these things. Like I think just an email they generate. You can throw in here's my YouTube channel. Here's what I do. Blah blah blah. And what kind of equipment you'd be interested in? They might just ship it to you to play with.
Big T over here's got 20,000 subscribers almost, right?
I know. You could
we should make a little noise for him.
You could be a Radiodity tester.
Yeah, you should at least get a demo. You should get a demo G90. Take it out for, field day or his camping trips or something like that. I bet. Yeah. Look at him.
I've been here. Like, I'm not going anywhere. They know where to find me. And there was a time. Tell you guys what. 5-6 years ago. 5-6 years ago, I did reach out to several companies. I got crickets, and it's like I'm not doing this. It's like it's a waste of time. I'm not about to go campaigning for it. So if they want me, they can find me, and if not, I'll just
playing hard to get is a viable strategy. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. What do we got? Fuzziness was like a peach. There's a Georgia boy talking.
No, but what K0KLB says he loves his G90 and he's almost ready to buy a second one. Well, okay, so now I know.
No. Yeah, sure, you're right. Yes. That's
you can pick up a used. I know where you can get a used one. I know whom you can borrow one from.
So I was saying there's a couple of things that worry me. Well, there's a few things. Okay, there's a number of things. That screen looks pretty small. I don't know if I'd be able to. I'd be doing this. My eyes are not
bigger than the screen on the 897.
Yeah, but it doesn't pack as much in on the 897, right? You've got less information on there. The digits and whatnot are larger. So
you're right.
You haven't got this little waterfall thing and all the other stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Forget it.
Okay. Philip is saying, "Oh, here we go. Philip's got it figured out here. Look at this. Tim, loan Tracy your T9."
If you wouldn't make the poop face when we talk about it, then I might. I might actually.
All right. Hey, Rod, VA3MZD. Talking to Kevin, the best YouTube video ever. Geez, that's wonderful. Okay. What else we got? Richard E. So what made you guys start a YouTube channel? How did you become successful at YouTube and grow your subscriber base? We could spend a lot of time on
equipment from manufacturers was the key strategy. Saying no.
What was that?
I'm teasing you. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, you can't say I've grown my subscriber base.
You're at 5,000. What are you talking about, Chris?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
No, don't belittle that achievement in this day and age. So here's the deal, guys. You know what? I got to focus because I just saw an interesting comment come in from Don. I started my YouTube channel. It was never intended to be a YouTube channel. I started it because, and this was back in 2011, and in those days, there wasn't much on YouTube that was ham radio related. Completely different world than it is today. But I had watched a number of ham radio related videos, and I found myself thinking, what can I give back to the community? These have been terrific. They've really helped me out a lot. And my first thought was, I don't actually know anything that everybody else doesn't already know. Well, that turned out to be wrong, but that was the way I was thinking. And I think a lot of people make that mistake. We've all got our separate paths that we've traveled to get where we are today. We've all learned different things. The guy who's been a ham for a year and has done a number of things knows some things that I don't know because he's tried different things that I haven't. So what I finally decided to do was a video on a telescopic fiberglass pole. At that time, I was using jackites out of North Carolina. They're kite poles.
I remember that.
By a bird kite. Yeah. And I thought, nobody's done a video on this, so I'm going to make a video that shows people how to use one to hold up a wire antenna. That video now has over 100,000 views on it. And it's terrible. It's awful. I'm standing in my backyard. I'm not talking loud enough. I can barely stand to watch it, but I decided to leave it up. And a lot of people thought it was fantastic, and they really enjoyed it and learned something from it. So, but that was then, right? That was I hit the market at a time when there wasn't a lot of competition. And there certainly wasn't the number of people doing things similar to what I'm doing. Nobody was doing that. When I first started doing the camping and the ham radio stuff, nobody was doing it. You had a couple of guys like Julian, for example, or maybe Tony, K9ARV, that were going out and making a POTA video. It wasn't POTA back then.
POTA, yeah, he just went to a park. Yeah.
Yeah, he went to a park and operated. Julian was dragging his stuff out to a hot tent Finland, but nobody was doing exactly what I did, and that helped me, garner a fan base. So it was a niche that helped me. And then
that was part of it. That was part of it. The other part that you're not giving yourself credit for is that you're authentic. Okay, you have this air of authenticity about you that not every YouTuber has. Does that make sense? I believe you when you say something, okay? And I see you out there in the field doing, whatever it is. when you admit when something goes wrong or something like that, there's a component to that is extremely watchable. I think that's why I started watching.
Yep.
I didn't need to see another commercial, for whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks,
Hey, look,
Tim.
listen,
I do appreciate that.
That one of your field day videos, and you had the 817 out, and I was getting a bug to go into QRP, doing that, and I came across your channel, and that was one of the videos I watched that convinced me to buy the 817. So, yeah,
I have heard that a number of times.
so it is your.
Thank you for raising the subject, Richard. Chris, do you want to maybe just touch on why you started your channel?
Well, my chat's funny. I still have the welcome video up on my channel, which I think that's like passe. I don't think people really do that anymore. But when I launched the channel, it said put up a welcome video, so I did. And what I called it, what I said was like, I'm really doing it to be like a journal of what I'm doing with ham radio, and hopefully people get something out of it. That's
totally authentic. Okay, neither of you started YouTube channels to become influencers or
no,
to do anything. You're not putting up videos every 2 days.
Right.
There's channels that do things like that, and there are other channels that are more authentic, and I prefer the more authentic versions.
Yeah. And that's really like there's no real rhyme or reason to the videos I put up too. If you look at that, it's just like, oh, this is my radio thing. I'm going to share this with everybody. This is something I think is pretty cool. What do you think of this? Or like when I had to fix my Astron power supply, I'm like, here, I'm going to troubleshoot it and fix it and see, make it work, and it's still working just fine. Things like that. So yeah, that was the whole reason. That's really what kind of drives my channel. It's kind of like I think of something like, well, that'd be pretty cool to share with everybody. So that's really what I'm doing. So
good stuff. Hey, let's get to a couple more comments here, guys. Dawn, I like this. I think Steve K5ATA, now at ARRL, once loaded up his G90 to a handrail at a dock during a POTA several years ago. I love those weird antenna. There was a guy up here in Ontario, VE3TWM. His first name escapes me, but he did one video where he loaded up the backstop of a baseball diamond.
nice.
And then another one where he went on a pedestrian bridge and loaded that up.
Right? The
Sorry?
stirber curtain. The backstop at a baseball diamond would just be a big stirber curtain, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably. I can't remember his name. Good guy. Let me see here. So Don comes back. I wish Tony, he's talking about K9 ARV, would make more videos.
He made great videos.
I'm with you, Don. I think like, I don't know for sure, but I think the haters got to him. I think some people were piling on, and he just didn't want any part of it.
Don't want to deal with it.
And
It's
that's
so
a
bad.
shame.
His videos were fun to watch.
Yep.
In fact, honestly,
All put
that's
together.
why his videos were why I have Tim's link dipole, because Tony did a video with it, and he kept saying it was a K9 ARV. In fact, why I did it, my video, when I got it, I called it a K9 ARV dipole.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I didn't make that connection. So, but
I remember that vividly.
And that's how long ago I bought that antenna. It still works.
Yeah,
I didn't know Tony had haters. Did he? He had haters?
Yeah, he did. Well, nasty comments were being left in his videos, and
like
that was really too bad.
How could you say something mean about that?
I thought he was a really likable guy. I
totally
enjoyed watching.
Yep.
Anyway, Tony, if by any chance you happen to see this, you got fans here. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see you.
Your new videos will get 3 views for sure.
That's right.
Well, you bet. Yep. All right. So let's go. Hey, Philip says, just don't be a sellout. Well, I think that's great advice.
Yep.
Mike N2MAK. Mike, you know this. It takes time to make and edit videos. So whatever you do, it should be something that's fun. Wow. That you've said a mouthful.
Sure
there,
did.
Mike. It takes
fun.
hours. Literally, I got home from my camping trip last weekend. I'm trying now to do less studio work, i.e. less scripting and microphone, and just go with whatever I record in the field. And it still took me probably 3 hours of work sitting here with Final Cut Pro. And by the way, Mike, I've got a bone to pick with you. You're using the same lower thirds in the video editing software that I use in my videos. Tisk, completely tongue in cheek. It's a great looking logo. It's the title ace. It kind of goes from it goes from dark background to very light background as you scroll across the screen. Anyway, 3 hours. It took me 3 hours to get it ready, even though all the video had really been shot. I didn't need to do anything with it other than just compile it. And oh my gosh. But then again, I'm slow, and I like to admit that. Hey, Rod VE3TWM Z Deep says, Tim said it, authentic counts. Hey, what do we got here? Chris, I really enjoyed the ham stick install on the truck.
Great, I'm glad.
They're still that was a great video.
They're still on the truck.
That was a great video.
That was a whole series I did, putting a 7100 and the ham sticks and everything in the truck, and it's still out there, still working fine. So,
hey guys, Chris, that you're breaking up. Tim, I wonder if the connection's on my end. Are you guys hearing me okay?
I hear you fine.
Huh?
Okay.
Everything sounds fine here.
Okay, I'm now getting broken video on both of you. I don't know what's going on.
Well, we'll take over. That's no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen, Don, as long as you can hear me, I'll continue. Don says Tony has a new call. Don't mention it here, Don. But if you're in touch with him, please let him know that we were thinking about him and saying kind things about him because we mean it.
Yeah.
Richard says, I would imagine you need thick skin. Yeah, you do have to learn to turn a blind eye to that.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. See, Tony was never trying to sell me anything, and,
right.
and Chris and Tracy were never trying to sell me anything. It was a journal of what was going on, right? If you take the time, sit and watch, and you get ideas from that.
That's all it's there for.
Yeah, and
right.
It's like, okay, wow, I'll never have a YouTube channel. That I just don't have the patience for that kind of. Right. And it does. It takes time to sit down and edit and get your lighting right and the backdrops and all that stuff. Oh, for God's sake, no! I can't even get my camera to focus. What am I going to do with a YouTube channel?
Hey, Kevin from Ham Radio QRP K0KLB. I said it earlier for the other channels. If you haven't seen Kevin's channel, I can't imagine that you haven't. Please go and check it out. Ham Radio QRP K0KLB. I just love.
Yep, it's fun.
I just love the stuff he does.
I do too, and I never catch it. I never catch the check-in thing. It was on Fridays, and then it was on Sundays, and then it was there. And the only time I'll be, oh wait, I got to do that, and I'll look, and it's it was yesterday or something, And it was just I can't get it right with that one. I will someday though.
Hey, look at Philip. You're one of the club now. I just had my first asinine comment on mine. Major milestone.
Oh, what was it?
If you don't get those, you're not trying hard enough.
It might have been me.
Okay, guys, it's an hour and 52 minutes in. I think we have to pull the plug now. Well, I'm going to say I have to pull the plug because I'm getting pretty weary at this point.
And your computer's breaking.
Yeah, and there's something going on with my audio. My audio is piped.
The universe is telling him it's time to go to bed, no doubt.
Yeah. Chris, I'm going to throw it over to you. Any final words as we get out of here?
Good to see everybody again. Thanks for jumping into the comments and all that. What was I going to say? Oh, I think the next time we meet, it'll still be before Field Day, I think, right? Yes. I think so.
Just for the record, when is Field Day?
Yes. It's the weekend after Father's Day, right? So that makes it the
23rd.
Whole
weekend in June, always.
Yeah. Or the
so
weekend
that is, give me a sec. Give me a sec. I should have
23rd, somewhere around there, 22nd, 23rd.
Let me see. Saturday.
Don't ask me because Hamvention was just 2 months ago.
Okay.
So if you're asking me when stuff is, I know my anniversary. I know.
Well, that's good.
I know my wife's birthday and I know Christmas. Okay.
There you go. Those are the 3 dates you need to remember.
That's it.
Yeah,
I think it's the 22nd, 23rd.
June?
22nd and 23rd. You nailed it, Chris.
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
So I think
All right.
we'll be on the air next time, a couple of days before it, I think.
Good stuff. Tim, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, get a G90. What's your problem?
Brutal.
Okay, well, that's on that note.
I don't get it.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate having you along. It's fantastic. I loved all the comments and the opportunity to interact with you.
Bye,
Oh,
FFJ.
VE2FGJ. Here's another. Sorry, I want to go and check out VE2FGJ's YouTube channel. He's got a really great one. He's done some cool stuff with magnetic loops and other antennas. I just love the work he does. So take care, everybody. Next time, 7-3, and get ready for field day, and we'll all get together
Or
again.
anti-field day, as the case may be.
Working the work bands.
Okay.
I'll be the anti-field day guy. How about that?
Okay.
The Minority Report again. No problem.
Goodbye, everyone.
Good night, Tracy. Good night, Chris.